They told everyone in our family that I was dead. Not sick, not gone far away, literally dead. All because I refused to pay for my brother's medical school. I still remember my mother's cold voice on the phone that day, "Madison, if you can't support your own family, you're no daughter of mine." 3 weeks later, relatives were calling, crying, saying they were sorry to hear about my passing. They had no idea I was sitting in my tiny apartment, very much alive, with my heart broken but my mind set. Before I go further, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and share it, because you're about to hear how the girl they declared dead became the one holding the keys to their future. At that time, my brother Liam was their golden child, straight as, perfect smile, and, according to my parents, the one who'll bring pride to this family. I was the quiet one, working double shifts at a coffee shop, saving every penny to start my own small business. But to them, that wasn't real success. So when they demanded I take out a massive loan to cover Liam's med school, I said no. Not because I didn't care, but because I knew they saw me as a backup ATM, not as a person. What I didn't expect was the cruelty. My father told everyone at a family gathering that I'd passed away in a car accident. They even staged a little memorial photo on Facebook, my own parents. I spent months drowning in anger, but I stayed silent. I stopped taking their calls, blocked them on social media, and poured myself into building something no one in my family believed I could. Every late night, every sacrifice, every dollar invested, it was all fuel for the day I'd make them face me again, and that day was coming sooner than they ever imagined. 2 years later, the call came out of nowhere. It was my cousin Hannah, her voice shaky. "Madison, I don't know if I should tell you this, but your parents are planning a huge family reunion next month. They said it's to celebrate Liam becoming a doctor, but honestly, I think they're in trouble." My heart pounded. Trouble? After all those years of worshipping Liam, I couldn't imagine what could have gone wrong. But then Hannah whispered the part that made me freeze, "I think they're going to need your help. Badly." I laughed at first. The same people who announced my death were now circling back because they needed something from me? I almost hung up, but curiosity clawed at me. I asked her what happened, and she hesitated before saying, "The truth? Liam's med school bills piled up higher than they could pay. He's not even graduating this year. And they're about to lose the house." I sat there, stunned. 2 years ago, they chose him over me, ripped me out of their lives, and fed lies to everyone who knew us. Now, they were drowning, and apparently, I was the lifeboat they hoped for. The irony tasted sweet. What they didn't know was that I wasn't the broke, desperate girl they buried in their lies. The small online store I started in my one-bedroom apartment had exploded into a multi-million-dollar e-commerce brand. I had warehouses in 2 states, a loyal customer base, and a team of employees who trusted me more than my own family ever had. I could write them a check big enough to erase every penny of their debt, but I wasn't about to. Instead, I decided to show up at that reunion, not with a check, but with the truth. I wanted every single person they'd lied to, every relative who'd sent me "rest in peace" messages, to see me standing there, alive and stronger than ever. And I wanted my parents to watch as their precious reputation shattered in the same way they tried to shatter me. The only question was, how do you crash your own funeral 2 years late and make it unforgettable? The reunion day came faster than I expected. It was being held at my uncle's big countryside property, the same place where I'd been humiliated at my last family gathering. I pulled up in a sleek black Tesla, the kind of car my parents used to say was only for people who hit the lottery. My heels clicked against the driveway as I stepped out, wearing a tailored white suit that made me look like I was about to walk into a boardroom, not a barbecue. Every move was intentional. I wanted my entrance to burn into their memory. From a distance, I spotted them. My mother, in her usual pastel dress, her smile frozen the second her eyes met mine. My father's beer bottle stopped halfway to his lips. Liam stood there in his doctor's coat, which I now knew was just for show, looking like he'd seen a ghost. Fitting, considering they'd declared me dead. The conversations around the yard began to drop into silence. A few relatives gasped, others whispered, "Is that Madison?" My aunt clutched her husband's arm like she'd just seen a miracle. I didn't rush to explain myself. I let them feel the awkwardness, the confusion, the discomfort. I simply smiled, walked straight to the refreshment table, and poured myself a drink like I belonged there more than anyone. Finally, my mother broke the tension. "Madison, what are you doing here?" Her voice was sharp, almost accusing. Like I was the one who owed her an explanation. I took a slow sip before answering. "Oh, I heard there was a big celebration. Thought I'd stop by, since I'm alive and all." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Liam's face went. Red.my father stepped forward, trying to regain control of the moment. "You weren't invited." His words were clipped, but I could see the panic in his eyes. He knew their lie was about to unravel in front of everyone. That's when Aunt Hannah jumped in. "Wait, why did you tell us she was dead?" Now, all eyes turned to them. And for the first time, my parents didn't have a rehearsed answer. I could have ended it there, but that wasn't enough. They hadn't just lied, they'd erased me from the family. And I wasn't leaving until everyone knew exactly what they'd done, and what I'd become. I set my drink down and stepped into the middle of the yard, my voice loud enough for every whispering relative to hear. 2 years ago, my parents told you all that I was gone. They had a choice: stand by their daughter, or turn her into a villain because I wouldn't give them money for Liam's medical school. They chose lies. They chose to erase me. The crowd shifted uncomfortably. My cousin Mark muttered, "Wait, they lied?" My mother tried to interject, "It's more complicated than that," but I cut her off. "No, it's not complicated. You wanted money," I said. "No, and instead of respecting my decision, you buried me in a fake grave so no one would question you." My voice trembled, but not from fear, from the sheer weight of finally speaking it out loud. Liam, who had been silent until now, suddenly spoke up. "You don't understand, Madison. They were just trying to protect the family's image. You refusing made things harder for all of us." The audacity almost made me laugh. "Protect the image? Liam, you're wearing a doctor's coat today, but you're not graduating, are you? You're drowning in debt, and they're about to lose the house. That's the image you're protecting." A wave of shocked murmurs spread. My uncle's jaw dropped. My grandmother clutched her pearls like she was in some soap opera reveal scene. This was the moment I'd been waiting for. I reached into my bag and pulled out a thick folder, laying it on the picnic table for everyone to see. "While you were pretending I was dead, I was building something." I flipped open the folder to reveal glossy photos of my warehouses, news articles about my company's growth, and bank statements that would make anyone's eyes widen. Is what happens when you stop begging for approval and start working for yourself. Gasps turned into silence. My parents' faces were pale. I could see the cracks forming in their pride, and I wasn't done yet. I leaned in closer to them, lowering my voice just enough for the crowd to lean in too. "You wanted me gone. But now, I'm the only one who can save you." And then I smiled, because we all knew I wasn't here to save them. My mother's lips trembled, but she tried to compose herself. "Madison, we were wrong. We shouldn't have." I raised a hand, stopping her mid-sentence. "No. You don't get to rewrite history now. You stood over my grave in people's minds and smiled. You told them I was gone so you could protect Liam's future. You didn't care what that did to me." Liam stepped forward, desperation creeping into his voice. "Madison, please, if you don't help, they'll lose everything." I tilted my head, pretending to think. "You mean you'll lose everything? Your house? Your perfect image? Your doctor status?" My voice hardened. "Funny, isn't it? 2 years ago, you thought my life was worthless. Now it's worth more than yours." The yard was silent except for the faint sound of the wind through the trees. Every relative was frozen, watching the scene like they were afraid to even breathe. My father finally spoke, his tone low and almost pleading. "What do you want from us?" I looked at him, at both of them, and for a brief second, I remembered the girl who used to beg for their approval. But she was gone. "I don't want anything," I said softly. "Not your apology, not your thanks, not your forgiveness. I came here to make sure you could see me alive, thriving, and completely out of your reach." Gasps and murmurs rose again, but I wasn't finished. "You told the world I was dead? Fine. I'll stay dead, to you. But to everyone else here." I turned to the crowd, my voice lifting, "I am living proof that you can rise higher than the people who tried to bury you." I picked up my bag, turned on my heel, and walked back toward my car. Not one person tried to stop me, not even Hannah, though her eyes followed me with a proud little smile. The Tesla's door clicked shut, and as I drove down that long driveway, The sun hit my face. I felt lighter than I had in years. They might have called me dead once, but after today, they'd remember me as the one who came back, not to save them, but to bury the lies they'd built. And that was the sweetest revenge of all.